call it to order? All right, let's call it to order. The three of us that were here last time. This March. We got a quorum. I asked Heather to, keep this meeting on schedule, because after I got home and was thinking about, what we had allotted for everybody, and we left CASA at $5,000, and they were asking for $8,000, and one of the reasons that we did that was because they had asked for ARPA money. But, after I got home, I was thinking, you know, first of all, we're not sure when and if that ARPA money is gonna come like we want it to. It may come back from the state that nobody's getting any of the money that they asked for, so the reason that I asked to keep this meeting is, I'd like to recommend giving CASA the $8,000. I know they're going through a transition right now, and, I know that they're gonna have to buy new equipment, and some new things with their new director, and just like everything else, prices of everything is going up. They have to raise $5,000 to get their grant, which is what they did last year, you know, asking for the $5,000. But, I also know that they're doing some fundraising to add to that, so they can have your director put in more hours, because being involved in CASA, I know the director puts in probably, I'd say between 40 and 50 hours a week, but she's only paid for 20. So she puts in a lot of hours on her own time. So just having a little extra money and a little extra cushion for CASA will be able to, you know, continue to do their fundraising, which they are, and I know that they do the trivia night next door, and it seems to be fantastic. I mean, I think they make quite a bit of money doing that, but it'll give them a little cushion, and like I say, without knowing for sure what ARPA money is, you know, what's gonna come through, who's gonna get it. I mean, if it's gonna be given like the nonprofits requested. It may still be given, but it may not be given like they requested. So, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to, increase them from 5,000 to 8,000 as they asked for.
Now, if these numbers here are correct, if we raise them from 5 to 8, we'll still be pretty close to what we had last year, right? Total. So it says here 246, 242. I don't have a problem with it, since we're not going up, you know, if we can keep it the same as what last year, I think we're good.
Actually, it would be going to 271, is that correct, Finance Director?
No, that third column is where the recommendations came from last Thursday. So if they added 3,000 more, you'd now be at 245, 415.
Okay,
416, sorry.
and so,
The second column was the original request from everyone. The third column is what came out of the non-committee recommendation last Thursday.
and you're still, what about your Substance Alliance, because that's not listed there in the third column.
No, it's
Which one?
The Substance Alliance?
Yeah, nothing's been.
well, and we'll explain that a little bit more, but we still won't be able to vote on that. Because there's somebody else, you know, just the two of them can't vote on it. I can't vote on that. But yeah, I mean, and a lot of it, you know, going up quite so much is because we did give quite a jump to the fire and rescue this year than we did last. So that's part of that jump up a little bit. I know we raised most people up, but you know, raising that fire and rescue up, it put us up a little bit, but I mean, with that 3,000 puts us right at last year's total, so.
Thank you for clarifying that, thank you. So you're gonna talk about substance abuse at full commission?
Yeah, do you want me to discuss it now, or do you want me to discuss it at full commission?
You might wanna go ahead and discuss it now, just so the committee will understand. If there's any questions at full commission, the committee might catch on something.
Okay. I'm going over there. You guys. I'm going over there.
Be a double person.
Yeah, I'm gonna double. Okay, all right, come on, Sharon. Do either of you want to take over the chair position? Do you want the mayor to take?
Just go.
You'll be all right.
Last time we were here, we talked a little bit about, the coalition asking for $15,000. We're hoping, really hoping that it'll be a one-time thing. We have grants that'll sustain our coalition. Right now, the mayor's office acts as a fiscal agent. So what they do is, they pretty much act as the bank for the coalition. Instead of having a bank account, instead of having loans and things like that through the coalition, the mayor's office acts as the fiscal agent for us. So whenever I get an invoice or I pay something, it goes to the mayor's office. The mayor's office will pay that, and then they get reimbursed 100% of what I've spent. So the state is trying to get away from fiscal agents with coalitions, and that's what they're trying to do now. Right now, we do have one grant under the coalition for $48,500. The next grant will come in July 1, which is the one that funds my position. It's $67,142. And then, we have one more that will stay with the mayor's office until September 30, September 29. September 29, it'll stay with the mayor's office. That may or may not go away. If it doesn't go away, that will be awarded to the coalition. If it does go away, then it's just gone. And then we're getting another one that, it's already been offered to the coalition, and it's a completely different, I wanna say monster. It's completely different from what we do as a coalition. Coalitions are in the community to prevent drug and alcohol abuse and educate the community on the consequences of drug and alcohol abuse. The one that we're getting is somebody who's in recovery, and their job is gonna be to work in Benton County, Houston County, and Stewart County, working with the recovery population and trying to get recovery meetings in all of those communities. That grant's gonna be around $64,000. So it's a little bit less than mine, but it's a lot more than the one that is with the coalition now, that 48.5. So I'm thinking altogether, with all of those, we're gonna have around $150,000 in grants. And right now, we have about $3,000 in the bank for the coalition. So we're asking the county to award us $15,000 from the nonprofits. We don't intend to come back because we'll be reimbursed for all the money that we spend from the coalition part. Now, there are some funds, and the finance director will tell you, when I first started, I could spend my money on anything. I could buy anything. Now, I can't buy pencils. There's things that the state doesn't allow us to pay for, but we kind of think they're important. Not necessarily pencils, but last year I wanted to buy footballs for the football game with our logo on it and something on there that says if you need a lockbox, you can contact me. And we weren't allowed to pay for those because they consider it swag, just pens and things like that get your name out into the community. They won't pay for. So we call those unencumbered funds. Those monies can be spent. We don't charge the grant for those monies to come back to us. So we'd like to have a little money in the bank to be able to do that. We're continuing to fundraise. I've got a fundraiser out there right now. We're looking to fundraise about $10,000 through the community. Right now I'm almost at 3,000 or 4,000 in fundraisers. So, we're working toward that. There's more opportunities to speak to people, fundraising, but we've got a couple that they're not huge fundraisers, but they'll put a little bit of money into us. we're having an Earth Day thing down here at Mossy Oak Properties, and one of the things when we fundraise is that we want to partner with different organizations in the community. So when we do that, like we're working with Mossy Oak Properties, they're paying a lot of money out of their pocket, but if we make any money, it's gonna go to the coalition. I'm talking about having hot dogs and hamburgers, and he's talking about bringing ribeyes and smoked bologna, so I'm just like, oh, okay, but that's not money that's coming out of our pocket, but we're thinking about taking a bet on whether or not the sheriff rides the bull long enough, or the chief, but, and the other thing is, we do a lot of outreach in the community. One of the things that's in my plans as a coalition is to offer substance-free activities in the community and partnering with other organizations to do that. So, I know that a lot of you maybe know that we do the car show I don't wanna say every year, we've done it twice. I don't charge for the car show, it's a community, community event. We've had over 200 people, come through. The first year we had 35 cars, last year we had 67, so it's getting a little bigger. We usually, when we do those kind of things, ask for donations. We'll have the popcorn machine there, we'll have candies and snacks, but then we also ask for donations for the car entries last year, which we didn't do the year before, just to make a little bit of money. We also give a scholarship at the high school, like the last year was the first year that we gave it was $500. We'd like for it to be a little bit more, but if we can't give more, $500 is more than they had when they started. So last year was $500. But we do movies in the park. Again, I don't charge for those things, so we don't consider those fundraisers, but I have to do those with a coalition, in order to, to just keep on going, And I don't wanna say that, I think that my organization and what I do in the community is important. And I don't think, and I'm not saying that because it's me and my job. I think that anybody in this job, this organization is important to this community. And, so the 15,000 would be about 10% of what my grants would cover. And then we continue to fundraise. Again, like I said, we're working on $10,000 for the community. We're already at 3,000, so we're moving ahead, so I think that's it.
Listen, aren't you also a part of Crime Stoppers? Is that something that you're a part of?
Yeah.
Night out with the police, or?
Crime Stoppers is its own organization. It has its own board, but it is something that the sheriff asked for when he was elected. The sheriff asked for it because when he was elected, the poor man got stuck with the Kirby Wallace case right away. When people were calling in tips, if they did come to our sheriff's office, they not necessarily didn't know what to do with them, but a lot of the tips were going into Montgomery County for things that were happening in Stewart County. So he asked for a Crime Stoppers organization. We didn't go with Crime Stoppers just because there's a fee to be called Crime Stoppers and that kind of stuff. So we just went with Crime Tips. It's not a separate bank account. My mom keeps separate ledgers on the bank on those monies, so it's not a separate account. They have Crime Tips has about $5,000 in the account. But what we do with Crime Stoppers is it's $1,200 a year to be able to use the platform that you call in. It's $600 a year to use the call center. Our phone bill, we have to pay, it's like $60 a month, and then what we pay out if we have a tip that comes in that we pay for, which we've only had one, and we paid out on that one. But we try to keep a little bit of money in there just in case something big does come, because he had one the other day, last month that he wanted a $500 reward for. And it didn't pan out, but if it would have, then we would have had to pay out that $500, so. That kind of stuff is, and then Night Out Against Crime is pretty much just another activity that we put together. All the different organizations, Sheriff's Department, all our law enforcement officers, law enforcement departments, and then we have Fire and Rescue and EMS, and
Narcan, are you part of the Narcan training?
I can do Narcan training, but I don't. We actually have somebody at the state level that does our region, so Region 5 North, they have their own grant for that. Since Stewart County, we're right in the middle of 5 North and 6, so Henry County is Region 6, and Stewart County is still in Region 5. But each region has their own rope, we call them ropes, regional overdose prevention specialists, and they come into each county once a month, and do those. And I'm not sure, they've gotten a new one. I know that she started them back up, but I'm not sure that she's had anybody come to them, but yeah. They're just that's another partnership. And the thing about coalition work is it's a partnership of, 12 sectors of the community that come together at the table and, work toward drug and alcohol prevention.
I just wanted to let everybody hear, and thank you for explaining how far-reaching your programs are.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
There's a couple things, as far as the coalition part that they do. One of them's the education things, and some of these things are kind of awkward for her to try to, or us to try to raise money for. She's trying to raise money. We go to certain churches, we do talks to youth groups. We actually have a presentation we put with the adults in the church, and we do that. She does mention the Narcan. While she got provided, I count on her to work to set that up, get our officers trained, and get our Narcan provided to us. And we have saved several lives where we ministered the Narcan. Unfortunately, we've had to do that, so I count on her to do that. And for example, we got a safety day coming up at the high school, and she works with us. So there's a lot of activities that she partners with, a lot of stuff that we do that not necessarily have just her name on it. And some of these things, it's kind of awkward to try to charge people for to raise money, but they really support. She's really a support group for the sheriff's department, because some of the things we do, we can't afford to do, and honestly, some of it I don't have the connections or time to do, but there's a lot of activities that we actually do, or we count on the Drug Coalition to do that, so this must be
The drunk.
maybe I said it wrong.
No, it's like, when you talking about the things that we do, and I was talking about the drunk goggles, when I ran over all the
But,
Yeah, so, anyway.
Thank you, Sheriff.
I'm in the same situation with the other day. I'm not against you at all. I just don't feel comfortable
Right,
with the two
well,
of
and,
us.
and we can't, you can't,
Right.
but, we were hoping, I know Clint's wife, I checked on Clint's wife the other day. I wouldn't want to, I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to be in her position. I know Clint said she's in a lot of pain, so, I'm sure that he's home with her, but.
People need to be educated on what y'all doing, 'cause I know some of what you're doing, but not all this stuff, other stuff. And I didn't know y'all was hooked up with him very much, but, it's a lot of, y'all got a lot going on there.
We do, and it actually, because the coalition's been in the county for 10 years. It's been in the county for 10 years, and I still run into people like, I don't even know what you do. And I'm like, we do drug take-backs when we're, twice a year, we're down at the pharmacy doing drug take-backs, and it really is about preventing drug use at the middle, at the middle school age and until they get up, and then also keeping drugs out of the community. So we give, lock boxes to people in the community so they can lock their medication up. But we also have these drug take-backs so they can get rid of it. One of my friends' mother-in-law just passed away, and she had a lot of pain medication. And the first thing that she asked for was, where she could take that medication. Because I continually tell people, especially the older population, that one of the things that people will do is check the obituaries. And if they know that somebody died because they had cancer, those are the people that get robbed. And so, that was the first thing that she asked for, was where she could take those medicines.
And really, because of some of that information that she's relayed to us, the sheriff's department, what we're gonna start doing too is, every quarter too, if people will call, I have a Saturday, we're gonna start doing, if they will call and they've got medicine, some of these elderly people. Cumberland Southern has bags of medicine, we will, a deputy will go out and pick that up. And that's originated from her drug take back, and we work back and forth, so we're gonna do that and provide that as a service, especially for the elderly who don't tote a bunch of bags. I went to, you wouldn't think it, but, when I had one lady, she called and she, I said, I'll just come and pick them up for you, and I remember as I got there, and she almost 3 big garbage bags full of medicine, I don't know where they all came from, and we took them, and that lady, she couldn't got them all in our take back box there, so, because of us working with her, I learned some of these problems, so that's helped.
Yeah, one time we were at a dirty take back and a guy came with a 55-gallon drum bag full, and he was like, I've been holding on to this for 2 years. And I was like, we've been having take backs for 5.
I had Oxycontin, prescribed to me when I had the shoulder rebuilt. It was a pretty good little bunch of it. Well, I didn't, I think I took 2, and the rest of them I just used ibuprofen or something. And my son Grant looked up there and he said, Daddy, do you realize how much money you got right there? Somebody's gonna steal it?
Yep.
I said, no, he told me, so at that time, I think $8 a pill or whatever. And so I burned it.
Well, that's what they do when they come pick it up too, so. That's
I
one
don't
of the other
think-
things that I want to raise funds, and it's not anything that my grant will pay for, but one of the things I'd like to raise funds for is to get an incinerator for the sheriff's department. Because when Marty has a box in his pharmacy, and when that box gets full, he has to send those medications off to be destroyed, and it's about $600 every time he sends it off to be destroyed. So if we have an incinerator at the sheriff's office, then they could start using that, and then they can start using it for, confiscated drugs.
How much are they? To have one incinerator?
They're around $5,500.
Oh, okay.
They really are like a 55-gallon drum, and they've got a, filter on the top of them, so when they're being incinerated, it doesn't get out, because they worry about that getting out into the, the atmosphere as much as they worry about flushing them and getting it into the groundwater, so. And that's one of my pet projects, that
And one
incinerator.
of those things that we work with them on doing, and she sets all this stuff, and is our compliance checks. And I say that by we check these businesses and make sure that are IDing and not selling alcohol, to minors, and we have caught some doing it, but she does help us set up these compliance checks, so I do partner with her and count on the coalition to help us out a lot, because I just don't have the manpower setting some of this stuff up, so.
Okay, well, I appreciate y'all's
Thank you very
time.
much. A lot of information.
I'll do it again.
Exactly like you did tonight?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Maybe not so long.
Oh,
Maybe not.
It's not the question of credit. If we approve it, let's say it's the 15,000, that'll put us about roughly 15,000 above where we're at right now.
Correct.
Is that,
Yeah.
is that within the realm of what you were expecting or budgeting on, or?
I really wasn't, there really is no expectation, I guess you should say, it's just, it is what it is, and then we'll put it into the budget and see where it lies with all the other increases that come across from all the various departments. I can tell you each year it seems to go up a little bit, because there's different ones that increase. We did have one group that came off this year, so that saved the county to 10,000. I don't like to say save per se, because that group did a good job, but, that was $10,000 that wasn't requested again, so.
Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Nope, Melissa.
What?
Did you wanna make a motion to approve the upgrade for CASA? Or you recommended it?
Yes.
You didn't move on? Did she make a motion on
No,
it?
we didn't make a motion. I made the
Recommendation,
recommendation.
right.
We need a motion to increase CASA.
I make a motion, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
calendar. I can keep up with it.
You're hearing worse than mine, huh?
It's not getting good now.
Okay, anything else? Nothing?
Let's do adjourn.
Motion to adjourn? Second?